Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grabback, your weekly podcast for games from the Game Pass collection. Bring you 3 new perspectives from varying skill range. I am forgot my title that I was doing, Keith.
I don't even think you told me what it was either, so I don't think you had one.
I am Andrew. With me, the one you wish you could get lost in time, Keith.
Hello.
And with us, the man, the myth, the legend, our new guest, Tony. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me. I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, and you actually requested we do Age of Mythology Retold.
Yes,
actually,
I did.
I think we actually had another listener. I should have wrote it down. But anyway, yeah, this was a listener request.
I was going to say, I know I did request it at some point. Then I was like, if you do it and you want a guest, and I raised my hand in the Discord.
But yeah, we did Age of Mythology Retold by World's Edge, which is okay. I had to look up World's Edge. I did not realize. I thought this was a completely different developer that did the other remasters of Age of Empires, but no, they did the Age of Empires 2 remastered, and also they did Age of Empires 4. So yeah, Age of Mythology Retold is a rework of the classic 2002 real-time strategy game, Age of Mythology. No surprise there. Where you are playing, different civilizations being told from, following their mythology. So you have like the Greeks following the Greek gods. You have the Egyptians, the Atlanteans, and the Norse. And so basically it's Age of Empires, but with heroes and myth creatures and gods. But yeah, going around though. Keith, what did you think of Age of Mythology Retold?
So I kind of skipped right past any campaign stuff, and I was like, I'm just going to, do some pain here, and I'm going to play online. And I just got stomped on, and I had no idea what I was doing because I was trying to play this game a lot like Age of Empires because it is.
No, this game is actually pretty different.
But once I started playing the campaign, I still haven't gone back to online for the record. I think my feelings are still a little too hurt. But at the same time, once I started playing the campaign, and it's especially the early parts of the first campaign are very tutorial. I'm like, oh, that's how this mechanic works and that mechanic works, and now I understand the game, and I was having a lot more fun. And it wasn't even going to be a pass, but I was going to be like, man, I just really don't like this game. But no, it's a lot of fun, and I could see myself having a good time going back to it because it does. Not all the Age of Empires have a multiplayer online ranked, so this could be a fun online one with your friends.
Wait, does this one have ranked?
It does.
Oh, okay.
And you can do like 2v2, 3v3, and all that too. It's not just 1v1, which I think Age of Empires 4 is.
Yeah, because I remember we kept trying to do ranked on that and it wasn't working.
Yeah. But anyways, it is a game. Yeah.
I guess I'll just follow right after you. So I didn't check out the online. I was actually playing too much of the campaign, and so overall, I'm giving this. I guess I'm giving this a game. I'm not gonna lie though, this did not hook me like Age of Empires. I remember I did play this when I was younger. Back in the old days of, this game came out in 2002. I don't remember how. I don't remember if it was a demo or I, super legally downloaded it. I don't remember. But I do remember bits of it. I remember just like summoning Titans and being like, this is cool. But playing this though, it just didn't hook me like Age of Empires did. It does have a lot of different weird mechanics, like as Keith said. You may go into this thinking, it's just Age of Empires, but there's now gods. Now there's actually like people play way different in this. Like everyone has really interesting mechanics, so it's pretty cool. The campaign though, I will say, is actually more interesting because in Age of Empires, majority of the missions are build a base, destroy the enemies, rinse and repeat. The campaign actually has an overarching story that's kind of interesting, and you actually are doing different objectives. So I feel like for a single player RTS, this is better, but playing it, I had no interest in playing online. So that's why I never touched it. So overall, I'm giving it a game.
Yeah, I would give it a game for me as well. It's actually the first strategy game I've touched, I think, in like many years. I think my first exploration in the strategy games was like Warcraft 2 back in the day. I got it at a flea market somewhere, the Battle.net edition. And I just played the campaign religiously. Yeah, that. And then it was the Battle.net edition of that. And then I got the StarCraft battle chest. which was like
Yeah,
all the expansions, and then so
that's
this
a
was like
deal.
this harkened back to that for me. I've only touched the campaign. I haven't even touched like single player skirmishes or multiplayer. I've never touched multiplayer in any strategy game. Like that's that's like the off bug spray for me. Just keep it away. I was like, I'm not messing with this. But from what I played of the campaign so far, it's a lot longer than I was expecting it to be. I could say that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only 39% in, apparently, to the Fall of the Trident. And according to Xbox, I'm 7.5 hours into the game. I'm still in the first section of the campaign.
Yeah, and there's
So,
3 campaigns.
yeah, there's 3, and I'm still on the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the campaign hooked me in almost immediately. It was like something about I like that fantasy style, which is like the Warcraft, the Starcraft, and that's kind of what this harkens back to for me. Like the addition of having all those mythical units you can use, that's my favorite thing about the game. Like Age of Empires, I ventured into a little bit, but that was more just like historical stuff for me. So like even though I'm into history and I found it interesting, I always like the more fantasy style aspect of stuff. So once you start adding like these crazy god powers and like mythical units and stuff, I'm just for much of the campaign, I'm just brute forcing myself through by farming as many mythical monsters as I can and just sending them at the enemy.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like that's why I would first like I was actually tempted to buy like the premium edition of this game because it came out.
Yep.
You got to like access the game like a week early, and I was like, oh, I really want to play this because I'm the same way. Like I prefer StarCraft. I always prefer fantasy and sci-fi. Like the Age of Empires games hooked me, but I agree with like majority of the civilizations just play the same. You're gathering trees, you're gathering gold, you're gathering food. Like they have some varying different units. But like when it comes to something like this, it's like, oh no, people play way different. It's just like as in like StarCraft, like the Terrans play way different from the Zerg. The Zerg play different from the Protoss. And that's how like this felt. But yeah, I'm with you. Like that to me, I like the campaign. The campaign of this game was the thing that kind of like I found most interesting.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting it either. Like I don't think I played the campaign when I was a kid. Because I don't remember the story at all. But yeah, I was surprised that it was just like, oh, this is like a full tell like story in which the story is, as far as I can tell, like I know a good amount of myths and legends.
Right.
And to me, like it has some recurring characters like Hercules, Ajax.
Yeah.
I think Argon's in it. But yeah,
and
like,
what is the Arta? What the heck is the original guy in the beginning of it? It starts with an A, but I can't remember. Arcantos, that's it. Yeah.
Which
I was like, I know this name, but I can't remember from where.
Is he original? I don't know if I remember him in Myth.
I'm not sure. I just know it focuses on him, at least for the beginning.
But yeah, I liked it's like this overall story of like, you know, you're a Greek city that worships Poseidon, and Poseidon's try to get stolen. So you go on this campaign to get it back, and then it just keeps going, and eventually you end up in Egypt. So then you start.
That's where I'm at now. I'm in the Egyptian section.
Okay, so you're like right where I'm at. I'm like 2 or 3 missions in the Egyptian.
Yeah.
But I was liking the story because it's like that's the other thing too. Like if it's already a myth, like I already heard, I sometimes check out. Like I played a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but like anytime it did the myth portions of it, I'm like, I know this story. So to me, I'm like, all right, this is just like, let's keep going. I know what happens next. Okay. But in this, it was a new story. So I was like, oh, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, don't even mention Assassin's Creed Valhalla or I'll go on a rant. I don't know if you heard what happened to me with them recently.
Oh yeah, that you lost everything. Oh,
yeah,
man,
I was like, no, don't even mention that game in your shot at me anymore. I'm done.
I can't imagine getting as far as you did in Valhalla and just losing everything.
Yeah, it was because I started that game when it first came out, so I was just buying some of the skins and the weapons and stuff like over time. It's not like I just all did it recently, which I'll tell you what, that one thread that I posted got like more hits than anything else I've ever posted. I was like, people love negativity around here.
What? The internet's not negative. What are you talking about?
Oh man. Yeah, so, losing everything sucked for sure.
I don't know if I was into the Egyptian section yet or not, but I feel like I was close because I think I was like 7 or 8 missions in. I don't know.
Okay, the Egyptian starts at like mission 11 or 12.
Oh yeah, then I'm definitely not.
So you got a few missions yet.
But yeah, I don't know. And I never played a ton of the campaigns on Age of Empires either, but I don't remember there being missions. So I could be very wrong on this, but I don't remember there being missions where there's like you were saying, Andrew, like completely different. There's no building. It's just kind of run from point A to point B.
Yeah.
they had those in Age of Empires, but like that was about
Yeah.
it. That's usually how they change the formula up. Is everyone else was like, here's a pack of units, and hope you survive.
Yeah.
Now, the one question I have, kind of devil's advocate, because I have the same thought on like the cool like differences of having the Hydras versus the Colossus,
Yep.
all these different ancient mythical units. At the end of the day, is it more just a trick on the mind of their design more than anything? Because they're still just a variation of some pantheons will have like siege and arrow units, and some will be cavalry and melee. So it's kind of just the same thing, and they're just skinned as these
No.
mythical units.
No,
But here's the thing, because I'm actually agreeing that I like it better myself. I'm just wondering if that's kind of like a trick on the mind more than anything.
No, I feel
Yeah,
like
I was
the
gonna say, I
mythical
think the
units play
mythical-
way different.
They're actually different for each.
Yeah.
Like completely
Okay.
different. Like for example, one of the mythical units for the Egyptian one is like the priest, and he's using all magic attacks. And then for like the Greek one, you've got the Minotaur, and if he attacks the army, he just sends people flying, like with his axe.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff. So
that was really
so
cool.
each one is like is completely different, and it's hilarious watching just enemies just go flying across the screen. I'm like, that's the first thing I saw was that, and I was like, I love this game.
Yeah.
Well, it took me a second. I was like, is my game like glitching out? What's happening right now? And
Yeah.
happened a couple times. I was like, oh, this is wicked cool.
Yeah, and
it's
I
pretty
like
fun.
how I also like, see, this is my favorite part about games like this is always the units. That's always like my main focus. Like, what kind of units can I get? What kind of different, that's always been the thing I've loved. Same with StarCraft. Like, what kind of different Zergs or Protoss, like we were talking earlier. Like, so like having all these different variations. And I like how the Hydra starts with just the one head, and then as it starts to attack, it starts to split into the different heads. I thought that was a pretty cool
attack more
animation.
people. Yeah. No, like this is why I can't believe you did multiplayer right away, Keith. Because these units are drastically different. So, like, this is what I was kind of saying before. Like with Age of Empires, it's very much like a rock paper scissors gameplay. Cavalry beat archers, archers beat infantry, infantry, can beat like cavalry. Well, if it's the pikemen, but like you kind of know what to counter. Like, if someone's on a horse, I need pikemen. If foot soldiers coming in, I need archers. But when it comes to Age of Mythology, you got these mythological units, which only heroes can kind of do extra damage to them because
Right.
heroes kill the myths. But the mythological creatures all do very different things. Like, you got like kind of a simpler small ones. Then you got kind of the medium-sized ones. Like the Egyptians, have a scarab that if you kill, it blows up in a massive cloud of poison that can damage a bunch of people around you. The Atlanteans have these rock guys that look like almost like Geodude. They have like multiple or Machamp from Pokemon. They have multiple arms and they just constantly ground slam. So there is like way different aspects to these mythological heroes. And so to me, like this is what was like kind of frustrating. It was harder to kind of figure out how to counter them because heroes damage them, but it's not like you can mass an army of heroes. So
Right.
it's kind of, it was like harder to balance and like figure out how to counter people. And so that's why I'm surprised you went online, because I don't know if I care to learn every unit and how to counter builds. Because so when you're playing the game, you level up your age just like you do in Age of Empires, age 1, 2, 3, 4, and every time you do, you split. It gives you 2 choices for gods, in which if you're playing online, like there's even more kind of splits you can do. But hey, do you want to go with Ares? He focuses more on infantry, or do you want to go with someone like Aphrodite, who does better with technology? And depending who you're picking is also what mythological units you'll get. So you got to kind of figure out, who do I want to go with? Because if you pick someone bad, then you're kind of stuck for that map. So there's a lot to learn in this game. There's a lot of units, a lot of technologies, and that was probably one of my biggest gripes at first. Is there's just a lot to kind of take in starting off with this game.
Well, I'm going to let you in on 2 little secrets, Andrew, and you might know this about me, but even when it comes to Age of Empires, I don't really play the rock, paper, scissors game. I just go, I'm going to try and build as many different kinds of units as I can and hope that I have enough of everything to counter whatever's in.
Playing online with you.
I don't. So it sounds like your way.
More than one barracks.
I build more than one barracks now. I do that. Sometimes I build 2. But at the same time, I don't play by being good, and I'm kind of just have come to grips with that. So I
play by being good.
Yeah,
I only play by being bad.
I play by doing my best. Okay, I'm just always doing my best. Well, most times I'm doing my best. But so there's that. And so I just went into it and said, I'm just going to go try this out. That'll be the quickest way I can try out, the different gods, this and that. So I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't understand what any of that meant. It wasn't until about maybe an hour and a half into playing the campaign that I finally realized that you had to send your villagers to the temples to even be able to create these mythical units. Because I was like, how? And I think I figured it out even by accident, and I'm sure it told me, and I just completely bombed past it. I'm not even pointing a finger at it, but I just one time was like, oh, I'm getting more of that. How is that? Oh, okay. There's a villager over there. And that's one of my biggest gripes about the gameplay is, if they're going to do this retold thing, gloss up the overall mechanics too. There's some, it shows its 2002 age in a lot of ways. With it has, I had asked you about it in the Discord, and Andrew said it does. It has the, the villager assignments for gold and wood and all that.
Yep.
But it doesn't have an option to include the mythical currency.
The
so
favor,
you can't, the favors. Okay, the favors. So you can't automatically send villagers over to that thing. You just have to do it, which, whatever, minor inconvenience. But half the time that allotment didn't work. I'd have it set for half wood, and 75% of my villagers would still be over there chopping away at pickaxing away at gold. What are you even doing? I don't even know. And so I do it myself.
I mean, I can understand why. I was with you at first, where I was like, yeah, why aren't people creating favor me automatically? Then I figured out why, and it's because every civilization gets favor in a different way. The Egyptians only get favor with their monuments. The Norse get favor by engaging in battle. So when a unit dies, they gain favor. So they all play different ways. So that's why it would make sense why you can't have your villagers auto getting favor.
Well, that also explains why I didn't know what I was doing online, because I didn't know that additional step, and I didn't even know the first step. I didn't know what the favor was, to be honest with you. I just went, that's kind of weird. I don't have any of that. I guess I'll figure it out if I can get far enough. But of course I never did, because as you can imagine, it would take about 15 minutes for them to just be like, okay, here's my army. Bye. Shucks. Try again.
Yeah, it's kind of where I was in the story or the campaign as well. But I won't lie, I played it on story difficulty. I just kind of wanted to breeze through it. I was like, let me brute force my way through and get as many mythical units as I can and just send them after the enemy. So it would be give me 10 Hydras and 15 Minotaurs and just send them at them. That's just the thing that entertains me for some reason. But it was kind of the same thing. It took me a little bit to figure out about the faith that I had to actually send the villagers to the temple so that they would be worshiping. I didn't realize it. Right, it doesn't really tell you in the campaign. A lot of tutorial stuff tells you, but it doesn't tell you about the faith at all.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, because I any game like this, when you play, the first two missions are always tutorials. Yep. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna do the first one, and then I realized, by the third mission, I'm like, how do I get this? I don't know if you guys noticed, but there is tutorial videos.
Oh no, I didn't notice that. No, I didn't.
So here's, I guess, pro tip for people out there. So when you first start the game, I think it's literally in the main menu. It says if you hit right bumper, there's a category called Learn. It's either that or under Campaign. But either way, there's a tab that says Learn, and you go to it, and it has a minute video. Actually, they're less than a minute of each of the 4 civilizations. So when you click on it, it basically tells you why this unit's unique. Hey, these are the Greeks. They get favor by praying at the temple. They have, these types of gods. That's it. That's the video. And then same with the Egyptians. Oh, they get favored by building monuments. Their people do this and this and that. So they're quick videos, which I actually preferred, because I do get kind of annoyed when playing these tutorials where it's press A to move, walk around the map. And it's a 5-minute tutorial of just me learning how to press A. And I get so sick of those missions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does throw you in the deep end. So make sure you watch those videos.
I think I did see one, but I think it was actually part of the campaign. Whenever it entered into the Egyptian one, I think it popped up and said, would you like to watch a tutorial video before you do this section? And I did. Because that's when it talked about the Pharaoh. Yeah, because it talks about the Pharaoh and how he can speed up the building process and all this stuff. I remember seeing that. But yeah, I didn't realize it was just right from the main menu as well.
Yeah. So definitely check that out where you play this game. But yeah, because so the like this. All right, and so you played on story. I played on standard. I think. All right, so there's like
Yeah.
5 difficulties. No, I think
I know there's at least 4.
There's like story,
Easy, then
easy,
standard.
standard,
I thought there was
hard, and
normal.
Titan.
I thought it was like normal
might be
and
normal.
standard. So
I
it
think
might
it's, yeah,
even
normal
might be
and standard.
story, normal, standard, hard, Titan. I think.
Something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like
It
that.
defaults to standard, and I played on standard. And I gotta say, this game is way harder than Age of Empires. Like, I actually was losing a handful of times.
Oh, I
Like,
got
I was
40
surprised.
minutes into a mission and had to restart. I was thrilled
I
about
mean,
that one.
I literally lost one of the Egypt missions on story. So
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
it was like the one where it was like you have to get this to this location in a certain amount of time, and I was like, wait, I guess I was wasting my time fighting all the enemies, and my dudes that were carrying the object died. So I got defeated
my God.
because you have to like
Guys,
keep them protected and use all your
Yeah.
other. And I didn't realize it right away.
I did that mission. I've actually set those guys right in the battle. They
Yep.
The AI is actually smarter. The AI was targeting it. The AI
Yeah, it was.
moved.
It
That
targets
the
them
mission objective.
immediately.
Yeah, they were targeting it. I was like, man, like the AI is actually kind of smart in this game. Yeah, I was way surprised how much harder this game is. Yeah, I played in standard because I was like, oh, whatever. Age of Empires is easy. Like, I played a lot of the campaign in Age of Empires. Like, I think I've actually beat every mission, but a good amount of them I'd play in the hardest difficulty, and some missions would give me a little bit of an issue, but overall it wasn't too bad. In this, I'm just playing on standard, as I said, and I'm like, I'm setting my army in and they're dying, and I'm like, what is going on? How are people dying? Like, this is not something I'm used to.
Yeah, the fact that they're still dying on story is absolutely ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
I should just be able, I'm like, I should just be able to send like 20 dudes out here and clear this whole thing. It's like, nah, not even on this one.
And you should win.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And then I have like those little pockets of enemies every once in a while where you hear that little horn go off, and so you know something's being attacked. But I'm like focusing on taking out their encampment, so I don't know what's happening. And then I scroll back, and I'm just seeing like my villagers get just slaughtered from like 4 dudes that got sent in.
Yeah,
because I didn't leave any forces back there to defend the place, so they're just getting wrecked.
Literally, the entire campaign of Age of Empires, I never built a wall. Never once did I ever build walls. In this, I'm like, I need to build walls.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me too. I sent my army out. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to win the game. Like, they'll just mop the floor. Because also, too, I think defensive structure in this game suck. Like, they don't do anything.
Yeah, even the guard towers, I feel like they just get destroyed quickly.
Yeah, the castles. Like, in Age of Empires, you need a trebuchet to take out castles. In this, like 3 soldiers are taking up my castle. And I'm like, what's the point of this thing?
Yeah, the archers just like wreck every wall too.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you come on now. Meanwhile, I have like 10 minotaurs and they're taking like 10 minutes to wreck 1 gate. And you guys just wrecked my entire village with like 3 archers.
1 cavalryman. Don't forget that guy.
Yeah, the 1 cavalryman.
Likely a scout, but you know.
I think even on story, I had heroes dying more than I had regular units dying, which was also a little weird.
Yeah. Once again, because the AI targets. If you play Age of Empires, anytime you get like a hero unit, they're always like bottom priority that the enemy will attack. So
Yeah.
I always noticed that. I'd send an army of like 50 troops. Literally all my troops would die, but my 1 hero unit would still be alive because for whatever reason the computer never targeted it. But in Age of Mythology, they target your heroes. They take them out like, right away.
They go down. And I think my units to target their like mythical units and stuff too, because I know you were saying you were having issues countering the mythical units. On story, that's not a problem. Like your regular army will take down those mythical units like it's nothing.
Now, I felt like the hero units were, I don't want to say underpowered, but I mean, like their skills were the most powerful thing. So like losing a hero wasn't usually the biggest issue I would run into. It was more, I was doing the same thing as I would just take my entire army everywhere I needed to go and never leave them back at base.
So we all did that then.
Yeah. Yep,
I learned. I mean, I started to build walls, so I learned a little.
I did not build walls, but I got better about leaving units behind because 2 things I figured out is you can change some of the like inputs so that when you hold a click, you can actually set it so that it only does locally to what's on the screen instead of selecting every single one of your units. And then what was the other one? Oh, you can actually like slow the speed of the selector circle. Because that thing was not easy to be like, all right, I'm going to grab like 2 units or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
'cause it
it's
was
just like big circle real quick.
Yeah, it flowers out. So you can slow that down and even like limit its max size too. So
Oh,
That's cool because I had a
that's
habit of
under
just
controller, I think, and settings.
Yeah, I had a habit of just selecting the whole army almost every time. Like it was never just a couple, unless it was like villagers. I would send like a couple to gold, a couple to that. But for the army, it was just like even after like half my army was in one area and I'm creating more units, I'm just summoning all of them up to the area too because I
It's
keep
just-
selecting all army. I'm like, just
Where-
go up there and take care of that.
Wherever the fight is the constant spawn point of every single.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I guess that's going to be my next question is, so did you guys only play on console?
Yes, I did a little bit of cloud gaming because I have a backbone.
Yeah.
But I ran into an issue with the cloud gaming yesterday where some reason it just went to a black screen and wouldn't load the game. But I think it was then I looked on my Xbox, apparently the game was updating. So it might have just been because the game decided to update while I was trying to cloud stream. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So I did console too, and I did a little cloud gaming as well. Cloud gaming, it wasn't too bad. I didn't have any issues with it.
Yeah, I mean, I use mostly data, so my stuttering comes just from using data instead of Wi-Fi at my work. But for the most part, it worked. It worked pretty good.
So what do you guys think? What did you guys think of the controls?
I thought they were pretty easily explainable. I like the fact that I was talking about selecting the whole army. I like that it was just like left on the D-pad to get the army, up on the D-pad to get the villagers. Like I like that like easy selection because I always get concerned with strategy games on console that they're more built for PC players with all of like and for this it felt like pretty simplified. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was at least close enough to Age of Empires. So like having some familiarity with it, it didn't feel like I had to relearn much. I think it was more just learning the mechanics of the overall gameplay. And it's like, and I think if anything, like Age of Empires 4 probably has a few like quality of life things that have been added for controller that maybe aren't in Age of Mythology. But again, going back to this being a 2002 game, you're 100% right, Tony. Like games, especially back then, were not designed, or these types of games were not designed for controllers. No. So the fact that back in 2002 they designed a game, or was this on console in 2002? Because that would have been Xbox.
No.
Oh, okay. So never mind. Well, either way, so in 2024, I guess they did it, or whenever this came out. But that said, it does play well for a controller, and
yeah, like
I don't think you need a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, like I remember when they tried to put StarCraft on Nintendo 64, and that was just
I loved that game.
Brutal for me. Trying to use a controller for that was just not working.
That's like one of the few real-time strategy games on console I could like think of as the StarCraft 64. This is what I'm saying. So StarCraft is coming out this month on Game Pass PC. And I'm just waiting for them to put it on console.
I wish they would. I'd be all over that. Yeah,
I know.
I'd be all over
it.
Same with
it on the Nintendo 64. Come on, you can.
Same with like I refuse to jump into World of Warcraft on PC because I never played it. But if they put it like a new version of it on console, I would jump into it.
I think I'd be tempted to go back on console.
If they do that, that might be the death of this podcast. I played so much WoW back in the day.
You just turn into a WoW podcast.
I mean, seriously. Because I know, especially if they put it like on Game Pass, like subscription, I'd be like, all right, well now I especially have to. But but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like Age of Empires are the only ones I can, and they're in the family of it, obviously, or this is in that family. Is like of the only console strategy games I've played. Because even I remember we did Halo Wars, and it's fine.
Yeah,
but this is like
Halo
this
Wars
feels
is super simple.
It is, and so that's part of it, I guess. But yeah, this is like so much more complex, but so simple at the same time.
Right.
And I think there's still things like I couldn't figure out how to select groups of like the same type of unit or whatever. So maybe that's something really easy that I just couldn't do. But I don't know. Like
I want to say you double click on one of the unit and it just selects all of that specific unit. At least that's how I was doing it.
I swear I thought I was trying that, but I will be open to admitting I was wrong. It happens often. But no, I think it controls fine.
But you make a good point. Like this is one of my gripes, though, a little bit with Age of Mythology, where I feel like it doesn't translate that well to console. So, like I said, in Age of Empires, it's usually just, like I said, cavalry, archers, infantry. Those kind of things. So if you just want to select your infantry, it's easy to just double A, boom, there's your army. But in Age of Mythology, it's like yeah, you have the pikemen, like your infantry, your archers, heavy archers, anti-archers. Then you have your myth units, siege units. It's just there's so many more variant types of units that I felt like it was way harder to just categorize my troops and be like, oh, I only want my siege units here. I only want this and that. So to me, it felt like it was almost necessary to that. I just have to select my entire army and throw them in.
Mm.
So that's where I feel like this game doesn't translate as well as Age of Empires does. But Tony, so did you play Age of Empires on the console?
I did. I
Oh,
played.
okay.
I played some of it. I didn't play the whole thing, but it was just kind of the same thing where I just kind of ventured into the campaign for a little bit. It didn't quite
Alright.
pull me as much as this one, just because of the more of the mythology fantasy aspect pulled me. But I still enjoyed what I did play of it.
So did you learn the controls with Age of Mythology, or did you just remember from Age of Empires?
It might have been that, or it might have just been me being used to certain strategy games. Like it was kind of just simple for me. Like, because I know about like click this, click that on PC from playing StarCraft back in the day, but the way it translated the controller was just easy for me.
Yeah.
But it might have been because of Age of Empires. You might be right about that. Because I
Okay,
think I
'cause-
played that recently, so that probably has something to do with it.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that's
'cause-
actually the biggest thing, or kind of a point I would think. It's like it's intuitive. Like,
Yeah.
at the very least, yes, you couldn't put this in the hands of just anybody who's never played a game, but having like just a comfortable background of like video game knowledge, you can pretty well figure out the majority of these controls just by, kind of the intuitive nature of it. And that's one of the nice things about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, did you guys play a tutorial at all? Like, I don't remember playing a tutorial at all.
No, I think it just jumps you right in. I mean,
I feel like I
thought there was a
did,
tutorial
actually.
option.
I think I did, though. At the beginning of the campaign, I thought there was a tutorial mission, and it was like the whole prologue mission was the tutorial, and then it does a real mission.
Yeah, I mean, I think to a certain degree,
Something
the
like
first
that.
couple missions they're not quite as, like Andrew said, click A to move this character here to there, but it's like, all right, it sets up a scenario where it sets you up to use the attack move to learn how to build, to build a base, to set your villagers. Like it has one or two missions that are a little bit handholdy in the intent of giving you, I think, the basics of the game.
Yeah, because it definitely tells you, like, use this god power and like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even known to even use a god power. Like, I wouldn't have been paying attention that you got to use the left trigger and X button or whatever to do a god power. Like, if it didn't tell me that, I would have just played like a normal. That's something we haven't touched on, is the god powers, because those are actually kind of cool too.
See, I was just thinking about this because I remember when we played Age of Empires 2, it had like almost essentially a whole nother campaign teaching you the tutorial controls of the controller. And that's why I'm just like thinking back and I'm like, I don't remember this game doing that.
Yeah, I definitely don't
Which is
think it did that.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because it threw the videos in there that you were talking about. Maybe they're just like, oh, they'll just watch this.
That's true. But the videos are just buried a little bit though.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't even know about them, so that's not helping.
But yeah, we'll get to so the god power. So this is kind of the new cool thing is, as I said, every time you're age leveling up your civilization, you get a new god, and you can sort of essentially get up to 4 different god powers. Obviously the first one's pretty simple. It's usually something that kind of helps your economy.
Yeah.
Then eventually they kind of get more complex, and usually by the 4th one you get something pretty catastrophic: meteor shower, earthquake, like a black hole that sucks everything in and spits it out. You get some pretty crazy ones on the 4th one. But yeah, I like these god powers. I some of them I felt like were a little overpowered.
The meteor for sure.
Well, did you guys play the Atlanteans?
I don't think I got that far now.
All right. So the Atlanteans, literally the very first one, I was playing Kronos as my main god. And literally his first ability is called Deconstruct. Instantly deconstructs an enemy structure. It refunds them so they get the resources back, but it essentially just erases a building right away, which is really crazy. Especially, like I said, it's a starting one. So anytime I was attacking the enemy, oh, they have a castle there, it's gone. And it's like,
now they don't.
Yeah, it seems
See ya.
so overpowered.
It's like the mission that your whole mission is to get rid of like a certain amount of castles. You're just like, well, here's one gone immediately.
Yeah, right away. It's just like deconstruct. Okay, bye.
Is that the one there's an achievement I saw, not to get ahead of it, it would just come up like on the side screen. It was like, it's like time shift 100 buildings with Kronos or something. So I'm guessing that's what
probably
it is.
it.
That's kind of cool. Or is that a whole different thing?
No, the time shift is just an ability the civilization gets.
Oh,
So
wow.
you don't even have to be associated with a god. But all it does, it teleports buildings. So you literally can build a bunch of barracks in your main town. And once you're assaulting an enemy, you literally could shift all those barracks right next to the enemy's base. So then you can essentially just keep building your army right there. It's pretty
Interesting.
crazy. Yeah, the Atlanteans, I felt like, had some pretty crazy overpowered abilities.
I remember some ability, it was an underworld ability where you could build 2 sections and your units could go into one and come up the other one.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
this
tried
one,
to
they
set,
just
I tried to
teleport.
set one in my base and the other one in the enemy base, but they just immediately attacked it as soon as I put it in there. So like you were talking about with the AI being smart, they're like, nah, like we see you putting this here.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let this fly.
Not today, Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, which okay, well the AI is smart unless they're on your team. So I did
Yeah.
a couple of skirmish rounds because I wanted to try the other pantheons before we recorded this. And so I was like, all right, well, I did 1v1s. I was destroying the computer. So I was like, all right, let's up the difficulty. I'll do 2v2. Literally, I have an ally with me. The ally did nothing. He literally built 12 units and stood there. So it's just me
jeez.
versus the other 2 people. And I was like, why do I have a bonehead AI while I'm going against real AI? Like, what's going on here? I have the same difficulty. He just didn't want to help me.
Is that not any different than playing with me?
Yeah, I know.
And you've won
like,
plenty
oh,
of
man,
games with me.
Did you have any issues? I did have some issues, at least in the campaign, when I'm trying to guide my units somewhere where they're just like getting stuck on the terrain or just like turning around in circles and getting confused. I'm like, what are you doing? I told you to go left. Why are you going right? That drove me a little nuts.
No, this game definitely has its bugs. So as we've normally said, so if you've played Age of Empires, one of the nice, controller friendly features is auto assign villagers. You have a pie chart that's basically like, oh, do you want 30% doing gold, 10 on wood, and the rest on food? Like you have this pie chart that you can kind of customize. The AI, like, it just didn't properly work. I had so many times I had villagers just idling.
Yep.
Like it just wouldn't work. I would turn off the like auto allocation and then turn it back on. And then, some would work. Some peasants would start to do their things, but I would still have a handful not doing anything. So I got that glitch a lot. And then, yeah, as you said, Tony, I had a lot of pathing issues.
Yeah, I did too. And then there was one very specific mission where you're in the underworld and you're supposed to load your troops up onto a boat to get to like the other side. But it doesn't actually tell you how to get them onto the boat. So it took me, I actually had to look it up to realize you actually had to do the X button, which is usually attack move, in order for them to actually get on the boat. That was actually rather frustrating because I just kept hitting the A button and telling them to move on. And the boat was just moving out of the way. I was like, what is happening?
Oh, yeah. And another thing I was having issues with, I would select my army, tell them to attack move a location, and then I'd press B to deselect the army.
Yep.
But whatever reason, it would also stop the army sometimes.
Yeah.
Or it'd stop like half the troops. Half the troops would stop, but the other half would go. So my army would get split in half, and then half of them would die. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was getting some bugs with this.
And I did a lot of my major issues were with the attack move for some reason. Like I'll tell them to attack move a gate, and they'll just walk up to it and stand there. And then I'll put basic move on the gate, and then they start attacking it. It's like the complete opposite of what it's supposed to do. Yeah, I found that weird too.
Gates in particular, I found I had to just, like you said, just attack directly because for whatever reason it was like because they would open and close to let enemy troops out, but unlike some other games, it wouldn't let you go through that open gate still. I don't think.
No, so it blocks you outside of it.
Yeah, so it they would kind of get confused about what they were supposed to do. So you basically just like, I don't know, just throw them at the gate. They're going to take it down in like 10 seconds anyways. As you said, they're not very strong overall. There was no gate. Was the Trojan horse one where you have, or the one before that where you have to actually like break down the wall, and it was like,
you have to break it
difficult
down.
At all. I just like you said, I mean, I stacked a bunch of mythical units and whatnot, but I was just like, all right, this actually is not that difficult. And that is the one I died on, for the record. But the second time around, I was much more efficient.
This is easy. You're like, oh, I actually died on it.
I mean, I died at around 40 minutes because the invading parties kept getting stronger and stronger. So if you didn't level up with them, which is where I feel like I was limping along the whole way, and then finally by about minute 40, they just completely overwhelmed me, and they got me down to 0 villagers, and I was like, okay.
I died in that mission too, Keith. So I don't blame you.
Okay,
I was the
good.
same way too. Because in that one I was building walls, I was building castles, and I'm like, oh, my castle will defend my village. No,
They
as I
do
said,
not.
as Keith said, structures kind of suck in this game.
Yeah, I ran
actually
into one issue where I couldn't even advance because it kept saying I had to build a fortress, but there just was never an option for me to build a fortress ever. I don't know if that was a glitch or a bug in the mission, but it was like you
No.
have to build a fortress before you can advance, and then it was like there's no option for building a fortress. I'm just permanently stuck.
I think that happened to me too, because that sounds very familiar. Like I felt like I was having that issue.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I can't remember what mission that was. I think there was an earlier mission too, wasn't it?
It was one of the later Greek ones.
Yeah, okay.
And it was like 2 or 3 of those missions where it said that, and I never once in the campaign have I gotten to level 4 of the thing. I've just get level 3 and then just stuck every time.
Yeah, no, I remember that. But yeah, in this game, I never built like siege units. To me, I just felt like basic soldiers could just take out a castle,
Yeah,
take out walls. So I was just like, all right, which was like kind of disappointing. Like I said, in Age of Empires, it's like, oh, you got to build trebuchets, you got to protect them. You know, you got to coordinate your armor around them and like kind of slowly move and advance into the enemy base. And this, I'm just like, throw people. They'll do the work. All right, I win.
and a lot of times, like in the campaign, a lot of times they'll just send you some of those units anyway. And like in certain missions, you'll just get some of the catapults, and they are pretty powerful. Like they'll take down the buildings pretty quick.
Yeah.
No, I mean, mostly my strategy, and this was where I wasn't building multiple barracks, is because I was just using my mythical units once I figured out how to use them. So, like, what was it? Is it centaurs? They're like the archers.
Yeah, they're centaurs.
Yeah, centaurs. Yeah.
Yeah, those were my favorite ones. Like with the arrowing, because so this is another thing. Like, I know this, we're not comparing the Age of Empires because again, it's a different game, but it's an easy comparison, and all that.
Well, it's the
same developer, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so like the cooldown on skills for like standard units was minimal. I think it was like 10 seconds maybe, and I think it started counting while the rain of arrows was going down. So if you had like 4 or 5 of those, you could just smoke an entire wave before it could even get close to you. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stack these, and they were cheap. So yeah, like if I was just focusing on how many mythical units can I stack.
That's kind of what I was doing for the most part too. I would just send as many villagers as I could to the little temple just to get enough of that faith and just keep summoning mythical units. And they were so overpowered and doing so much damage that I didn't really feel the need for any standard units after that.
Yeah, it's like I almost feel like they needed to be treated like heroes a little bit. Like you could only have one at a time, not an army of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting a pop cap of like 10. No, like the Egyptians have an alligator that shoots laser beams.
That's crazy. I didn't get that far.
Yeah, when I saw that, it's like a bejeweled alligator with that like focuses the sun and blasts enemies, and I was like, that sounds awesome.
Like I know one of the Greek missions was you were supposed to destroy all the shipyards, and I had the god that gave me the Hydra and the Scalia or whatever the crap it was called, the water one. So I just summoned a bunch of those, and it just destroyed them. Like it didn't just destroy the shipyards; it destroyed everybody in that vicinity because it was like 15 of those things. I was like, why do I need ships now? I just have these things to do all my dirty work.
So this is just like a double-edged sword. Like like talking about it, yeah, the mythological units are fun, but they suck to go against.
Yeah, and I guess there's a DLC called Mythical Battles, which I'm assuming is probably just gonna be mythic units is all you can use.
Oh, that's kind of
and
cool.
I imagine that's gonna be insane.
I was kind of tempted to get that.
I was too. Like I almost bought the little season pass thing just to play that, and because there was like a new thing added to, like Freor or something for the Viking ones.
Yeah, Freya and who's the other guy?
It's another one that starts with an F, but I can't remember his whole name.
I don't think it was Odin, because Odin was another one, but yeah. But yeah, I was tempted to get that because, well, first it's like, all right, well, after I saw how long this campaign is, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I didn't buy that right away because it's gonna take me a while to go through this campaign. I was surprised how much like meat is on this campaign.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I think I was messaging Keith on Discord. I was like, dude, I feel like I've been playing this game for a long time, and I'm only 39% done with the campaign. I was like concerned originally. He was like, dude, don't worry about it, because I was like concerned I didn't get enough done before the show. But I was like, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, for time to beat, it says main story. You're expected 24 hours.
That's crazy for a strategy game.
24 to 32 hours. Yeah.
That's insane. Like if StarCraft was what, like maybe 6? If you took your time.
No, it's probably a little bit longer. Okay, StarCraft 1, each race I think had like 9 missions.
Yeah.
And if you were like me, I always did them slow. Each mission probably took about like 45 minutes.
Yeah. And I think this
So,
one
I
has
don't
like
know.
48 missions or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it's a ton.
Yeah, and that's not even taking into consideration, the other battles you could do in the skirmish modes.
Yeah.
I just typed in StarCraft time to beat, and this is Google AI's response. It depends on the game, but it can take a while to beat StarCraft. And there's a little
Jeez.
chart. Wait, I always forget I can do this. I can share my screen. This is
It depends on the game. That's funny. It should be. It depends on the player more than the game itself.
but I don't know why this makes me but StarCraft time to beat. Some say it's the hardest game ever.
What?
Thanks, Google AI.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, about
Oh,
25
man.
hours. So that would be about in line with what you were saying, Andrew. 9 missions.
Yeah,
all
about 20.
that.
So yeah, it's longer than I thought too. Then.
But yeah, when it comes to the graphics though, all right, I gotta say, I do not like the graphics of this game. I actually looked up what this game used to look like. So when it was in 2002, I actually feel like it looked better back in 2002.
I was gonna say that was the one downside, as I wasn't too impressed with the graphics
Yeah,
from
like,
what I saw.
and also too, I was getting glitches with the graphics.
Yeah,
So like whenever my wall would get attacked, it would start to obviously crumble and like be on fire. I would repair it, but there would still be parts of it that were on fire. So I'm like, is this not fixed? But then once it took damage again, like the image of it reset and it was like rebuilt.
that's
So,
so
like, I was
weird.
getting
Yeah,
I was getting some graphical issues with that. But yeah, a lot of the units too just look very similar. When you get to the Egyptians, the pharaoh and the priest
I got that
are like the
confused.
exact same model.
Yeah, that confused me. Like, I think I sent the pharaoh into battle thinking it was a priest at one point,
Yeah.
and I just didn't even realize. And then it was like, and then it just randomly was like, a new pharaoh has been erased, and I was like, wait, what happened to the old pharaoh? Then I realized.
Yeah, he got, usurped a little bit. He's
Yeah,
gone.
he's gone. He's out of here.
He's assassinated. But yeah, like looking at the graphics of the old ones, it looks so much more like cleaner. Because that was the thing that was also part of like the OCD of mine that was kind of irritating me. I remember playing, Age of Empires. If I'm building a building, it would kind of snap them. So like I always clump my houses together, and it would kind
Yeah.
of snap them together so there would be like no gap. It doesn't do it in Age of Mythology.
No, I have just everything everywhere. Like, my place is just
Yeah.
scattered. I'm like, I tried to put the only ones I saw that stacked next to each other were like farms. Like, you could put them directly on each other and they kind of
Yeah.
stacked, but they were just flat. So
Yeah, it would snap close. Like I feel like it would do it like once, and it would let you build one, and then the third one would be like, nope, just kidding. It's
Yeah.
gonna be over here and slightly to the left. All right, fine, whatever. I give up. It's just
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah, that's how I was. I just threw everything just wherever there was an open space.
But I mean, I don't fault the game and the graphics. It's just, I don't know. To me, like playing Age of Empires 2, I noticed a difference. I was like, this looks way crisper.
Yeah.
This was kind of like, eh.
I wonder if they
Well,
didn't just do like a quick. Is it a remake or a remaster? I wasn't sure on that either. Because it says retold, so I kind of took it as a remake. But it feels more like a remaster.
Because if you look at even the animations, it really does look like they just put a fresh coat of paint over it.
Yeah.
Because they have the very same like rigid movement that you would expect from it, and I think that's where I agree with Andrew. Like it would look better with the old style graphics. Like it would fit the movement and all of the things that are happening, and I think probably give you a better like grid view of things.
Yeah, I almost kind of wish I could. I wish it would
it.
give the option of like, because some games now will give you like the remaster and they give you the option of playing with the original, and that would have been nice if they did that, because I would have probably done that just to see what it looked like, because I never played the original back in the day.
Yeah, like if you look at it side by side, it definitely looks nicer. But I there's nothing about this game that I'm like, oh man, the graphics, I'm so glad they look this good. I would have been completely fine if they looked the old way and if it functioned just a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, same.
I did like some of the map designs though of the different levels. Like some of like the backgrounds and stuff. Like I was saying, when you get to like the underground world, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I felt like there's definitely more variation when it comes to like map geology.
Yeah, it's like not all generic. It's like, oh, I'm not in Greece anymore. I'm actually in a different area, so it looks different. Or like when you get to Egypt and you got like desert and stuff like that. So I think they did a good job. But if it's just remastered, that's all original anyway. So
Yeah. I mean, the design of the units are cool. Like when it comes to the myth units,
yeah,
like those are obviously easy to see that there's a Minotaur. You know, that's a giant scorpion. You know,
yeah,
like that was easy.
that's
to
a
see. But when it came to
shade.
like
I don't even
I
think
got
that
a
was a
giant
myth
crab.
unit.
That was kind of cool.
giant crab,
Nice.
yeah. Oh, the Atlanteans had another myth unit. The Prometheus man. He was a clay dude, and anytime he died, he split into two clay dudes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like I said, the
I would
Atlanteans
have
I was
liked
actually
that.
having
I'm gonna
much
have to
fun
start
with.
messing with skirmishes now, just so I can see the other units because I didn't get a chance. I kept saying I was gonna do it, and then I just never got a chance.
Yeah, the Atlanteans I felt like were the kind of the easiest. Oh, because that was the other thing. The Atlanteans, the villagers, they don't return like goods. They anytime they mine something, it's instantly stored in your bank. So they
Dang.
literally just work wherever and they never have to go back. Yeah, I think the Atlanteans are very overpowered.
That's something we
think the
didn't.
no-
That reminded me of something we didn't touch on was like the market where you could send out caravans to bring stuff back. Did you guys do that at all? Because I never even touched it. Like I knew what it was, but I never messed with it.
Well,
There
they
was-
had that in Age of Empires too, or does it do different in this one?
No, it's.
I don't
I think
No,
it's
I
pretty much
already
the same.
tested.
I did on one level at least because there was like already a market set up on my like it was
Yeah.
one already built, and there was already a trade unit or like a trade path set. So I was just like, all right, yeah, I'll build a bunch because again, the villager assignment kind of stinks. So
Yeah.
I would all of a sudden realize that like I wasn't collecting gold like I thought I was. I'm like, great. Or like I would try to reassign to it and they just wouldn't go anyway. So the trade route was actually a more reliable source of gold than
Yeah,
the
I had a
villagers were.
mission. I had a mission where it was like you were supposed to take out the donkey caravans from like the bandits or something like that, and
Yep,
they were
that's the
just
same
like
one I tagged on.
endlessly spawning. I was like, how many of these freaking things are there? And I think it was an optional objective that I ended up winning without doing it because they just kept spawning. I was like, this is absurd.
I think that's how I ended up dying on the
Yeah.
first one is because I spent too much time trying to figure out how many donkeys I needed to kill. And it
No,
was
I didn't.
because I needed to actually take out one of the bases or two of the bases or whatever. And I
Yeah.
just wasn't doing that.
Because those things were just everywhere. It's like 30 of them per base. I'm like, oh, enough already.
I was like, how am I going to keep killing these donkeys and defend my base at the same time?
And I kind
can't
of feel bad for the
possibly build more.
donkeys. It's not the donkeys' fault. It's like, what did these donkeys ever do to me?
They're not even fighting back. They're just trying to run away.
They're just trying to run.
Can I at least farm them for some food or something?
After you kill so many, Shrek appears.
Yeah. I do like that too, the farming for food, that there's more variations than one for getting food.
Yeah.
Like you could send them to like kill or hunt or whatever. You could make them do the farm. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll say the AI this time around, like in Age of Empires, the AI never assigned your villagers to hunt. Like that was something you kind of manually had to do. In this one, yeah, they'll clear out all the wildlife near your village.
I think it's
awesome.
actually
Yeah.
a priority because there was one, they were walking forever because there was like one deer half a mile away and I didn't realize it. But there was farms, there was open farms sitting right next to them, but they didn't want to go do that. So
That's funny.
But oh, did you guys ever touch the Norse?
No, the
like
one
said,
that I
only
wanted to
did-
get to, and I haven't got to yet.
or
So,
maybe I didn't online and I had no idea what the difference was because
The
I
Norse
just
is the
assumed it was
hardest.
Age of Empires.
Oh, is it the
so
hardest?
The Norse, okay, can build villagers. They can build dwarves, which dwarves are only meant to mine. Like they do best at mining and suck at everything else. But villagers can't really even build villages. Like they could build farms and houses, and like that's it. No, it's the soldiers of the Vikings that build buildings. Like when I first played them, I was like, I have no structures. What is going on? Why can't I build anything? If you ever play the Norse is the hardest to play with.
That has the
But once you
most
figure 'em out,
amount
they're
too.
cool.
Like if you like, I went into the skirmish menu, and the Norse had like the most amount of like gods or whatever to choose from. There was like 5
Yeah.
of them to start, whereas like the Greeks had like 3, and that was like there's a lot going on for the
Yeah.
Norse.
But yeah, I love the different gameplay of them. I guess the only thing we haven't really talked about too is the audio.
Yeah.
As far as the audio goes, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did today, which is really weird for me, is I actually went and downloaded the soundtrack because I didn't pay much attention to it when I was playing the game. But when I had my headphones on, it was playing the soundtrack itself. I was like, okay, this actually has some bangers in it. Like, some of the music is actually really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See,
like,
to me, it was background noise.
yeah, it was when I was playing it, but for some reason, when I actually listened to just the soundtrack without having all of the like units attacking and fighting, and it's just the music itself, the music was actually pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean the audio as far as the noises or sound effects go, very repetitive. It's all the same, just metal clanking swords, pretty much no matter what, or
like,
the
generic death sound
of the arrows. It was pretty much those three sounds that was happening. It didn't matter who died; they all made the same sound, or who was attacking, they all made the same sound.
The Egyptians have for myth unit an Anubis, so it's obviously like part dog, and it has a leaping attack, and every time it does like this dog snarling noise. That got a little annoying because the computer would send an army, and it's just this dog snarling noise over and over and over again. And I was just like, all right, like I get it. It's kind of getting annoying.
Or like all the elephants just doing the elephant noises all at once. You're like, okay, just calm down now, please. Mute just the sound effects.
But man, I gotta look at the soundtrack now. They said it has some bangers on there.
It actually does, yeah. There's some
background noise.
But I mean, it's not The Messenger. That's like my favorite soundtrack ever for a video game. I don't know if you've ever listened to the soundtrack for that. That game is amazing. That soundtrack is insane. But yeah,
that game is so good.
It is. I never finished it, but when I first started the YouTube channel, I think that was the first game I played on it. Like, I got pretty deep into it, but I was more into like just the music. That's why I couldn't beat it, because I was too busy dancing, listening to the dang music. I'm like, I'm never gonna beat this game.
How far did you get? Because the game like completely switches halfway through.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I got to like the ice level, and I think that was where I was
like right at the part where it kind of switches.
Yeah, I was like, I could have kept going, but at that point, I think I ended up raging out and just stopping.
Yeah, we covered that game. Like, that was like our first or second year. That was a while ago.
It was a good game, though.
Yeah, so good. But anyway.
Yeah, so I just touched on it because I was thinking about soundtracks, and I think that one was playing today, too. So it was that one, Sifu, and Age of Empires were the three I listened to today.
Yeah, I never heard anyone like else play The Messenger, so I was like, that's one of my favorite. I love that game.
Right off the get go, at least what I find is A Cat Named Mittens.
Yeah, it's got some crazy titles.
Yeah. Never mind the slacks. Eat your potatoes. Suit yourself. Suture spelling SUTURE.
Yep.
Like
a suture.
Was this The Messenger?
No, that's for Age of Mythology. Those are the song
Chocolate
titles.
Outline, Flavor Cats, Adult Swim. All right, I'm in.
Yeah, it's got like the craziest titles. You're like, what the heck? This doesn't even match like the game. But yeah, the music was actually pretty good, especially the ones where it hits like heavy bass, which is like my favorite thing.
Okay. But as far as the achievements go, you done, Keith?
Yeah.
Okay. As far as the achievements go, though, the achievements are actually way easier than they are in Age of Empires. I don't know if you've ever looked at the achievement list in Age of Empires, but they have like 3,000.
Oh,
every achievement's worth 5 points. But in Age of Mythology here, there's actually I didn't look at the final count, but
there's like 100. Oh, is that few?
Yeah, it's actually not that many. And they're actually, majority of them are pretty fun. Like in Age of Empires, there's one to convert like 1,000 units, and it's worth 5 points. But Age of Mythology, yeah, they have the higher ones are like kill 10,000.
Yeah, kill 10,000.
Which, if you're playing this game, isn't hard to do.
I feel like by the end of the campaign, you'll probably have it.
Yeah, I mean, if you play a skirmish match, I feel like by the end of every skirmish match, you probably average like 200 to 300 kills.
Yeah.
So it probably wouldn't take too long. Then same with like destroy 100 buildings, which once again probably wouldn't take that long.
I think I got that one actually in the campaign early on.
No, there's 50.
There's 50. Oh,
yeah. But no, I mean, but even still, like for not getting, I don't know what you guys have. I have 175, which I mean that's not a ton.
Something. I think mine's 149.
But yeah, there's the ones that like I got not even realizing toss a unit twice within 4 seconds with Minotaurs, which. Like, yeah, we talked about. That's a really cool, like
it
visual.
is just watching them fly around.
4 god powers, 30 seconds. Yeah,
I have 335 gamer score with 18 out of 50.
Okay,
but it's kind of cool. Yeah. So with the achievements though, the first like 7 missions actually have mission specific achievements. I like that they did it for like the first 7, that they kind of like gave up on it.
I wonder if that's
It's
why
like-
I only have 8 of the achievements because I did 7 of them in the missions.
Yeah, I think I only got one that was mission related.
Yeah, like there's
Lost
one where
treasure.
Keith, when you're saying when you get the centaurs in the mission, there's where the achievement is to only build centaurs. Like that's the mission specific objective.
Oh geez, yeah. Apparently, I got the one of tossing 500 units into the air.
Yeah, which I love the name of that achievement. It's called "I Believe They Can Fly."
Yeah, I believe they can fly.
Yeah, some of the achievement names are actually pretty funny. Chonkers.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one
I got
right now.
Chonkers.
Grow like 10 pets to like max.
Yeah, Kronos'
size.
telephone booth. Is that a what is it, Doctor Who reference?
Yep.
You travel in a telephone
Yeah,
booth.
Doctor Who.
Big Boomer.
Age Against the Machine.
Yeah, they got some clever ones.
Pet of Set. Yeah, the achievements though. So overall though, I guess I'd recommend this for achievement hunters because that's the other thing too. They're not difficulty bound. So if you need to get a daily achievement, Age of Mythology is definitely probably an easier one to do. They're not difficulty bound, and like I said, a lot of them, if you're just playing by the game, they're pretty easy to get.
Yeah, the fact that I've done 500 units into the air in campaign alone is absolutely crazy. So that's how you know I'm sending minotaurs or whatever at everybody.
I mean, definitely for that matter, it's nice to know that they don't set a lot of achievements by difficulty. So, like you were saying, you were playing on story mode. So, if you're trying to just get a quick achievement for the daily or whatever,
you definitely did
it. It's going to definitely help pad that up.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get to our final thoughts here. I'll start us off here. So, Age of Mythology Retold. I was very excited for this game because I loved Age of Empires 2 coming to console and Age of Empires 4 coming to console. I love real-time strategy games. So seeing this of like, hey, it's another Age game, but now it's more mythological. It has more fun with the civilizations. I was like, this is going to be right up my alley. I liked it, but it just didn't hook me as much as Age of Empires did. I felt like the limitations of the controller was a bit harder in this. I wish I played on PC. I feel like I probably would have enjoyed this a little bit more on PC. But for what is here, it's still a lot of fun. The campaign is actually more interesting than Age of Empires, as I said, because Age of Empires kind of rinse and repeats. But this is actually like a new story, kind of following an overall arching story that's going narrative with like different, civilizations as you're globetrotting, trying to like solve this huge mystery that's going on. Pretty interesting. I like the mission designs of it. The pantheons each play drastically different. So that was kind of a pro and a con for me because it got a little confusing, but it was nice change of pace. So to me, if you were only going to play one Age game, I'd probably say Age of Empires 2. But if you really like real-time strategy games, you will not be disappointed in Age of Mythology Retold. But yeah, to me, this kind of landed at like an 83 for me.
Yeah, I think
definitely has some bugs. Once the bugs get fixed too, I think that'll get a little better.
I think that's the biggest issue and it's such a small gripe, but like the villager assignment not really working properly. It's just it makes it so much more difficult to play because it makes you have to focus on where your resources are being allocated. And it's not that it's all that difficult or time consuming, but it's a nice to not have to worry about it and have that. So I agree, definitely some bug fixes are going to help this, but I think it was more, I was surprised with how much fun I was having with the campaign because we were talking about me just jumping straight into online, and I think I'd actually like to try it more now, knowing a little bit of how to actually play the game. I'd probably still get my butt kicked, but I think I'd have more fun doing it and last more than 10 minutes before I'm losing. But like I just I do agree that like the Age of Empires 2, I think they just play a little better and probably just, I don't know, there's more to it, but that's where I think playing online for me made more sense because the campaigns in those games they weren't very interesting. It was overall pretty flat. This one I actually was having fun with. Like it felt like unique custom maps, and like to the point where I love that the cutscenes are basically like
in game.
yeah, like
Yeah.
like I don't know, you said you never really play these types of games online, Tony, so but like Andrew, you remember those like custom map modes where people would like code in these crazy custom maps where they would have zoom in things and basically make these little mini movies in a map, and it felt like I was playing one of those old like StarCraft custom maps where somebody did that, because it's the cutscene is just an in-game version of that character walking with their very
Yeah, a little
like
janky.
little Barbie doll walk. Like it's just very, very rigid, but it was fun, and I enjoyed following along with it, playing the different missions. I didn't actually end up playing any of the different pantheons, at least not in a meaningful way, because I only did it probably online when I didn't know what I was doing. But overall, yeah, I think a low 80 score is good. I think I'd probably give it a solid 81.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, for me, I can't really talk to, like I said, the skirmishes or the multiplayer. I just stayed away. Had I played the multiplayer, I probably would have rated it even lower, because I would just hated it if I jumped in the multiplayer.
It's the worst.
I would be like, you know what, this game is like a 53 now. But
screw you people.
for what I played in the campaign, and like the sheer satisfaction I get just out of sending units flying through the air, just like that achievement says, I think I'd probably have mine at like an 84 or 85. But that's mainly for the campaign, and because I know I'll actually plan on going back and finishing the campaign. I have a habit of playing a lot of games and never finishing them, but I think this is one where I'm actually going to try and finish the campaign, because I'm interested in seeing where the rest of like the Egypt, like you were saying, different units over each mission, you get different units unlocked and stuff, and I'm interested in see what the rest of the units can do.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think we'll about do it for us here. So we'll wrap it up here. If you have any game suggestions, please go to GamePassGrabBag.com. You'll find the links to all our things. You can write us an email, reach out to us, and say hi and whatnot. Come join our Discord. We're all on there. We love to talk and hang out. Yeah. Especially with some multiplayer games coming up. It'll be way easier to connect with people and get onto some multiplayer games. So yeah, check out our Discord. Come join us. Have some fun. Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man, it was
Where
a lot
can
of
people
fun.
Find you?
I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. People can find me. Sorry, did you say where can people find me? It's just right over my head.
Give us your address.
Just Super Tony Z Plays.
What's your home address, social security?
Yeah.
You can just type that into the chat. It's
you can
fine.
find me in the random spaces of Pennsylvania. Or Super Tony Z Plays everywhere. YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like Let's Play content. I'm currently working on the Plucky Squire, and I've got a couple random games I'm going to throw in there, and I'm also working on Silent Hill Homecoming for Super Scary Sunday. So be sure to check that out if you're in for spooks.
How you liking Plucky Squire?
I like it so far. I know a lot of people complain that it is very handholdy, but like I just kind of ignore that and focus on more of like the storytelling and like I like the art style, the storytelling, and it can be handholdy, but I just kind of don't care. Because I think it's because I like stuff that's easy. Like my frustration levels.
That story mode.
Yeah, it's
you
like
to play games for fun, not to be angry.
Basically, I mean, the last game I played that made me angry was Elden Ring, and I did sink hours into that, but it got to a certain point where once I hit that wall, I was like, nope, I'm done. I can't do this.
They're supposed to be where you get out your anger and your rage. They're supposed to be your therapy. You can't have fun playing video games. You're never invited back now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far, though. I like it a lot, and my wife likes watching the videos. So I like it because it's a video that you can watch with like kids or whatever and stuff like that. You don't have to worry. It's like family friendly. So
cool, awesome. So check out Tony. I'll have his link in our show notes. Keith,
you can find me here. Sit
for
show.
Now.
What?
No, just kidding. Thank you all. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.
See ya.